Hello, and welcome back to Hank USA. I'm Hank. Starting this July, there are certain things you might do on your telephone that experts now say seniors should never do again. This isn't a new law from Congress. It's a set of urgent warnings coming from federal agencies, financial experts, and even the banks themselves, all pointing at the same actions. Why the urgency? Because these seemingly innocent actions are the same ones causing seniors to lose thousands of dollars, and in some heartbreaking cases, hundreds of thousands, from a single convincing phone call. The federal government has just launched a major public awareness campaign about this. At the same time, banks are changing their internal rules and rolling out AI systems to fight the threat. And the criminals behind these scams are more polished and technically advanced in 2026 than anything we've dealt with before. Today, I'll walk you through exactly what to avoid doing on your phone, starting now. Then, we'll cover 4 other urgent changes this summer that hit your money, your Medicare coverage, and even the car you drive. Before we start, please give this video a like, subscribe to Hank USA, and turn on the notification bell. A lot of people only learn about these risks after the damage is done, and by then, it's too late. Staying ahead of this is what we do here. Now, let's get into it. Let's start with the telephone, because that's where the most immediate and preventable harm is happening. This June, around World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, a group of federal agencies led by the Department of Health and Human Services, the Elder Justice Coordinating Council, launched a national campaign called Never, Ever. Agencies like the FTC and the FCC are part of the effort. The whole campaign is built around one simple, powerful rule that dismantles nearly every government impersonation scam. Take a moment to write this down, or at least burn it into memory. No legitimate government agency, not the Social Security Administration, not Medicare, not the IRS, not the FCC, will ever call or text you out of the blue to demand an immediate payment. They will not ask for payment by gift card, wire transfer, cryptocurrency, or cash. Let me repeat that because it's the most important thing you'll hear today. Never, not once, not for any reason. If someone calls, claims to be from a government office, and tells you to pay for something over the phone in any form, you are dealing with a scam. The only correct response is to hang up. Don't argue. Don't explain, just end the call. Alongside the campaign, the FCC is making technical upgrades this summer to something called the Stir/Shaken framework. That's the system that helps your phone carrier verify whether the number on your caller ID is real or spoofed by a scammer. Carriers are now required to block more of these unverified, suspicious calls before they reach you. And any carrier caught knowingly letting fraudulent robocalls through faces stiffer penalties. What does that mean in practice? You should notice fewer obvious scam calls getting through this summer. But that creates a new risk. The scammers who do get past the stronger defenses are the most sophisticated ones. They often operate through smaller, less regulated internet calling services that bypass the traditional network. And they increasingly use AI to clone the voices of family members or to sound like convincing government officials. So here are the specific actions that are now effectively off limits if you want to keep your money safe. First, never give out your Social Security number, your Medicare number, or any bank account information to someone who called you unexpectedly. Legitimate organizations like the SSA or your bank already have this information. They won't call you unsolicited and ask you to verify it. Second, never stay on a call with someone trying to create panic or urgency. Scammers thrive on pressure. They'll say your Social Security number has been suspended, there's a warrant for your arrest, or your money is at risk. It's all designed to make you act before you can think. Hang up. Third, if a call makes you even slightly suspicious, never call back the number on your caller ID or the number the person gave you. Scammers can spoof legitimate-looking numbers. Instead, independently look up the official number for the agency or bank and call that directly to check whether there's a real issue. And finally, never pay any supposed fee, fine, or debt over the phone with a gift card. No government agency on earth accepts Target or Apple gift cards for back taxes, Social Security problems, or anything else. The moment someone mentions a gift card, it's a confirmed scam. If you get a suspicious call, you can report it. The FCC's fraud hotline is 1-888-CALL-FCC, and you can file online at reportfraud.ftc.gov. Now, let's talk about what your bank is doing in response to all this fraud, because these changes can protect you, but if you're not prepared, they can also cause problems. As of January 1st, 2026, a majority of U.S. states have safe harbor laws in effect. These give banks the legal protection to temporarily delay or freeze a transaction from a senior's account when their monitoring systems flag it as possibly fraudulent. California's Senate Bill 278 is a good example. As of January 1st, 2026, it requires banks and credit unions to ask customers 65 and older to name an emergency financial contact, and it lets them delay a suspicious transaction of $5,000 or more for at least 3 business days to investigate. Under the safe harbor, the bank gets legal immunity if the transaction they delayed turns out to be perfectly legitimate. In other words, their systems are now empowered to hold your money first and ask questions later. Here's what that can look like. A senior in Illinois tried to wire $42,000 of his own money from his Chase account. The bank's automated fraud system flagged the large withdrawal as unusual, and his entire account was restricted for over a month. He was locked out of his own funds, couldn't pay his bills, and ended up living on a credit card while his money sat frozen. It wasn't until a local news station got involved that the bank released it. That's not a story about fraud. It's about what happens when a bank's well-meaning security AI mistakes your legitimate actions for something suspicious. The fix is simple, and I really want you to do it. Add an emergency or trusted contact to every bank and brokerage account you have. This person can't make transactions, but the bank can call them to confirm that you're the one making a large or unusual request. Just call your bank's customer service line and say you want to add a trusted contact. Then give that person's name and phone number. Now, if the bank's system flags a transaction, instead of freezing your account for days or weeks while they investigate, they can call your contact, confirm your intentions in minutes, and let it go through. It takes about 10 minutes to set up, and it's one of the most valuable protections you can put in place this summer. Banks are also stepping up education. Bank of America, for one, announced it will host 1,000 in-person fraud prevention seminars across the country through the rest of 2026, many aimed at older adults. Other major banks are expanding their fraud education too. If your local branch hosts a fraud awareness event, it's worth your time to attend. The third change affects every senior who gets behind the wheel. In Pennsylvania, a law called Paul Miller's Law took effect back on June 5th, 2025. But for the first year, police only gave written warnings. That warning period ended on June 5th, 2026, so now officers can issue real tickets. The law makes using a handheld phone while driving a primary offense, which means an officer can pull you over just for holding a phone. You don't have to be speeding or doing anything else wrong. The fine starts at $50 plus court costs for a first offense. With this, Pennsylvania joins more than 24 other states with primary enforcement of handheld bans, including neighbors like New York, New Jersey, Maryland, and Florida. So, if you've got summer road trips planned, especially through the Northeast, keep your phone out of your hands while the car is moving. Use a hands-free mount if you need navigation. Automated speed cameras in work zones are expanding too. Delaware, for example, turned on cameras on Interstate 95 this spring, with live fines beginning May 23rd. The fine is a $20 base plus $1 for every mile per hour over the 55 mile per hour work zone limit. In just the first 3 days the camera was running, it recorded over 10,000 violations. Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Illinois have active work zone camera programs as well. These systems mail a citation straight to the registered owner, often weeks later, with no officer pulling you over. The rule of thumb? Slow down the moment you see the first orange work zone sign. and hold that speed until you see a sign that says the work zone has ended. The fourth change involves Medicare Part D, and a calculation most seniors with expensive prescriptions haven't made yet this year. There's now an annual out-of-pocket cap on Part D drug plans. This cap started in 2025 at $2,000, and for 2026, it's $2,100. Once your total personal spending on covered drugs hits $2,100 in a calendar year, your covered medications cost you $0 for the rest of the year. You enter what's called the catastrophic coverage phase, now with a $0 copay. For anyone taking expensive brand-name medications for conditions like heart disease, diabetes, or cancer, this changes the whole equation. If you've already spent, say, $1,000 or more on prescriptions so far this year, you may be much closer to free medications for the rest of 2026 than you realize. It's worth finding out where you stand. You can do that by logging into your Part D plan's member portal or calling the number on the back of your Medicare card. Ask two specific questions. How much have I spent so far this year toward my annual out-of-pocket cap? And how close am I to the $2,100 threshold? Knowing that number helps you budget, and it might reveal some real relief just around the corner. The fifth and final change is about a program most people connect with winter, but that's just as important and often easier to access in the summer heat. It's LIHEAP, the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program. LIHEAP provides federal funding to help eligible households with energy costs, and that includes summer cooling. A lot of people think of it only as winter heating help, but most states offer summer assistance too. And a real advantage of applying now is that summer applications are usually processed faster with fewer backlogs than during the winter rush. If your household income is at or below 150% of the federal poverty level, you may qualify for help with electric bills to run air conditioning or fans, or even help buying an AC unit. To check eligibility and apply, call the National Energy Assistance Referral Line at 1-800-3423-720, or search your state's name plus LIHEAP to find your local program. So let's bring it all together. Here's the full picture for this summer. First, never pay anyone claiming to be from a government agency over the phone in any form. That never, ever rule is your shield against every one of these impersonation scams. Second, call your bank and brokerage this week and add a trusted contact to every account. It's your best defense against having your own money frozen by the new safe harbor laws and overzealous security systems. Third, keep your phone out of your hands while driving. With more than 24 states using primary enforcement, one glance can mean a traffic stop and a fine. And slow down in work zones because the cameras are watching. Fourth, check your progress toward the $2,100 Medicare Part D out-of-pocket cap. You might be closer to paying $0 for your medications than you think. Log in or call your plan to find out. And fifth, if summer electric bills are straining your budget, contact your local LIHEAP office now. The cooling program is open, and it's less backed up than it'll be in winter. One last reminder, this is general educational information. Always verify details like eligibility and deadlines with official government sources, or talk to a qualified professional about your own situation. This has been Hank with Hank USA. If this helped, please give it a like, subscribe, and share it with a friend or family member who needs to hear it before the summer's out. I'll see you in the next one.